Debbie, welcome to the programme, and let's have a look at what the MHRA has been up to.
Well, yes, good afternoon, everyone. And should I say good afternoon to the MHRA as well, because I'm sure they're watching, or at least somebody's watching. But I've had difficulty this time with the MHRA. I'm feeling like a bit of a nag, actually, because I've had to email them to ask for tickets, and then there was no facility to ask questions on the board meeting prior to the board meeting. And then it was, well, where's the YouTube? So I emailed them this week because it's nearly a month since the board meeting. And thank you to everybody at the MHRA for facilitating the YouTube on the next day. So we have it now. Here's a screenshot just to show you. Please go and have a look at it. Even if you just click in, it shows that we're watching them quite clearly. So let's look at what they said. I've just snatched a little bit from some of the board meeting, but I want to talk about the yellow card biobank. Now, this is pioneering genetic engineering, genomic sequencing. And you can see the press release. This was released in February, pioneering genetic biobank to start recruiting patients on stroke prevention medicines. And this is the yellow card biobank. Now let's just go to the next slide to see our friend, Dr. June Rain, or should we say Dame June Rain, who says, we are excited to launch the second phase of the yellow card biobank, which demonstrates that we are at the absolute forefront of innovation in the field of drug safety monitoring. Almost a third of adverse reactions to medicines could be prevented with the introduction of genetic testing. The yellow card biobank will help us move forward towards our goal of personalised medicine. Getting involved with this important initiative means you will help more people use medicines safety. Now, I just want to add very quickly that if anybody is watching that has had an adverse reaction to anything, it is likely that they may be asked to volunteer themselves to the yellow card biobank. Now, this is because of personalised medicine. They want to experiment and investigate you. They're not there to help you. They're there to grab the data from your adverse reactions and then pass it on to researchers. And I just want to say that the yellow card is the flagship of the MHRA. It's patient safety. And they say that genetics play a very important part in minimising drug adverse reactions. Now, the Chief Safety Officer, of course, we know as Dr. Alison, who's sitting very nicely earning £195,000 a year. She's the highest earner of the MHRA. She was talking about the yellow card biobank at the board meeting. Let's have a listen.
I think, Alison, you're up next and going to update us on the yellow card biobank.
So for those online, the aim of the yellow card biobank is to better understand how a patient's genetic makeup can impact the safety of their medicines and more specifically the incidence of side effects to those medicines. And we feel that understanding the underlying mechanism of adverse reaction would support the development of new testing, pharmacogenomic testing strategies to reduce the burden of public health burden of ADRs and also, of course, the personal burden on an individual. So that's the vision of the biobank. We have a 2-year pilot, which we launched last year, and we're now at the midpoint of that pilot. So during the first year, as the paper sets out, we've established and recruited an excellent team. We've established a formal memorandum of understanding with Genomics England, our partner in this pilot, a formal governance structure, including a steering board, a scientific advisory board, a project board, and a patient and public involvement advisory group. We've finalised a procurement contract for the blood collection and we've launched 2 pilot topics. One is allopurinol and Stevens-Johnson syndrome, which is a very severe skin reaction. And the second is DOACs, which is direct-acting oral anticoagulants and severe bleeding. Those 2 topics have been carefully chosen to answer different questions through this pilot. The first, allopurinol and SGS, is has a known variant already identified, and what we want to look at is, can the biobank identify this variant and potentially look at other variants which might influence this reaction. And the second, the DOACs, direct-acting oral anticoagulants and severe bleeding, less certainty whether there's a genomic variant underlying that. But what we're looking at is, through the biobank and a more discovery phase project, can we identify a variant which may increase the risk of this particular adverse reaction?
So there you see, the biobank is not for patients, it's for the MHRA and for research. Now, if I could just ask the gallery at this point, if we could, I've got two clips from Liz Booth, the People's Officer, one that we'll show in extra, number 2. So if we can jump to the number 3 video in a minute, I'd be grateful. Because Liz Booth, I'd like you to meet her. She's only been appointed 6 months. She's the People's Officer, and she looks after the MHRA's people. She was talking about the fact that it's not all happy clappy in the MHRA. The people that work in the MHRA are far from happy. In fact, they feel bullied and harassed. Please go and look at the whole snippet. But for now, we asked them about the reward system. What do people get as a reward if they're so depressed and they're leaving in droves the MHRA? What do you do to keep morale up? Have a little listen.
And Liz, you mentioned reward and recognition vouchers, and there were a couple of questions which summarised are: what are the reward vouchers, how much is a voucher for, and what are they awarded for? So a little bit more on that would be helpful.
Certainly. I like to think of the reward vouchers as the virtual bunch of flowers. So the amounts are £50 and £100. There are tax implications to that, which our colleagues in finance have happily dealt with for us. They're classically given quite quickly after some wonderful piece of work has happened. So managers and colleagues are able to nominate people. There is, of course, a moderation of that to make sure that the work hasn't been rewarded in more than once. But the key thing about these vouchers is not the value of the voucher; it's the value of the recognition. So I like to think of them as virtual flowers or a virtual box of chocolates.
So there you have the reward scheme. More to come in extra on that.
I feel I need to go and work for the MHRA straight away on the basis of that. Thank you, Debbie. Okay, if you like what the UK column does, you'd like to support us, all the options for helping us out are on support.ukcolumn.org, and we do need your help. We only do this with your support, so thank you very much to everybody that is doing that for us. Please share anything you find on the platforms, especially ukcolumn.org and ukcolumnextracts.co.uk. And don't forget, the shop is there if you would like to pick up a hoodie or a hat or a water bottle and a number of other items there. Now, Ben, yesterday we put out the interview that you did with Professor David Barnheiser. That's now up on the website. Just give us a brief overview.
Absolutely. If you'd like to understand why anyone who's university educated under the age of about 35 hates their own history and culture, then go and watch this interview.
Brilliant. Thank you. And Debbie, your blog is up.
It is indeed jam-packed this week with all that you see on there and more. And also, if you've ever suffered from a urinary tract infection, don't worry, there's a vaccine heading your way very soon.
Excellent. That's good news. We want to highlight once again the Glasgow Freedom Rally taking place in George Square, Glasgow, 1 p.m. on Saturday. That's tomorrow. And so that's all about exiting the WHO and what people can do to organise around that idea. Another reminder of the Sounds Beautiful Festival taking place in Wimborne in Dorset, June 27th to the 30th. If you didn't see Wednesday's extra, then please go and have a look at that, because there are more details about this event on there. And then also Stand in the Light, that is taking place in Cumbria in May. We'll have somebody on to talk about that, I believe, on Wednesday's extra next week. So looking forward to that as well. Now,